Hi, everyone. Good morning, good evening. Welcome back to Scott. This webinar is in coordination with two organizations that are the leading organizations in tourism, the Smart and Creative Tourism Network. We are with you with a series of UN Tourism Quest webinar series that is focusing on destination management organizations. This webinar is going to follow the last webinars in this series to emphasize on the role of destination management organizations with a new organization who got the certification from a UN Tourism. We used to call them a UNWTO, but we have UN Tourism Quest, which is the same organization. As before, I'm going to ask the president of SCOT, Professor Jafar Jafari, to enlighten us with the opening remark. Professor Jafari, the floor is yours.
Well, good morning. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be with you, the audience. And as Dr. Kazem mentioned, this is a United Nations tourism effort. And as he already mentioned, the name is UNWTO is replaced by UN Tourism. So the word UN, or the concept of UN, is going to be more emphasized now that we are acknowledging it. And as you all know, the key words or the key concepts in the United Nations are people, the 5 P's of United Nations: people, planet, prosperity, peace, partnership, to which I add participation as well. So anyway, there are 6 P's, and you will see these P's coming into action when we are talking about destination. In destination, a lot of things take place, and all of these things need to come together in order to have a sustainable tourism development. And the players to be acknowledged here are of course, the residents, the tourists, the tourism industry, and the government. And we see them again in the interaction. So I'm very pleased that we have another destination to be introduced to us, to see how it is functioning, to see how these players are performing their tasks, where are the areas of collaboration, where are the challenges, and how the challenges are being met in this particular destination in Chile. So I'm here to learn. It's not in my place to give a lecture at this time. And Kazem, I would like to suggest that you start with the program. And Sonia, I see Sonia is also ready to take over. I will be here throughout the meeting.
Thank you, Jafar. Thank you very much. So without any ado, I would like to briefly introduce our moderator. We don't need to introduce her because she is very well known scholar in tourism. Yes, Sonia Figueras, a tourismologist and teacher by training that has more than 25 years of experience in education and 20 in tourism. So since 2004, she has worked at the UN Tourism Academy for the UN Tourism member states, the Education and Training Center of the UN Tourism, TED Call Network, and DMOs of the UN Tourism Quest Network. Currently, as program manager, she leads and develops new projects of the organization, including UN Tourism Quest program for tourism destination management organizations. Sonia is going to lead the wonderful team of today's webinar, and we are going to be in your service. Sonia, floor is yours.
Thank you so much for the invitation. It is a pleasure to be here for the sixth or seventh time. We have done some other webinars on the program itself, Unity Quest. It used to be called, now it's UN Tourism Quest, and one for each of the DMOs that got certified. We are very happy to be here today with la Corporación Regional de Turismo de la Región de Valparaíso. So thank you so much, Professor Kazem, Professor Jafar, for this invitation and allowing us to talk about more Quest, Valparaíso, and to have a panel on the second part of this webinar. Ahora voy a empezar a hablar en español. Quise agradecer en inglés a los que nos están invitando.
Now I would start to speak in Spanish. First, I will introduce my organization, and afterwards we will have Francisco Godoy, who will talk about how the certification of Quest worked in Chile, in Valparaíso. And afterwards, the second part, we will have an expert panel with Professor Kazem, Professor Jafar, and the speaker Francisco Godoy. We will have Caroline Godoy Courret, who is an expert and the founder of Creative Tourism. And in addition to that, we have Cristian Arteaga, who is the CEO of Smart Tourism and Hospitality Consulting. Now we'll share my presentation. So to explain to you what the Tourism Quest certification is and what it means. And afterwards, I will share some of the, I will pass them rather quickly because afterwards, Francisco will talk about this in more detail.
Esta certificación fue diseñada para mejorar y maximizar la excelencia.
So this certification has been put up to improve the tourism, and it has 3 key performance areas. And there's some indicators which are very specific, others are transversal. So also the objectives of the sustainable tourism and also of the organizations of destination management. So all DMOs have to show leadership, execution, and governance. So I will explain you more details afterwards. So the general objectives you can see here. So to familiarize the DMOs with the vision and the knowledge UN Tourism Quest has, and enhance the quality of the leadership and execution of governments. The third objective is to build the capacity and the competencies of the staff and of the DMOs and all the people involved in tourism. And the fourth is to facilitate the knowledge between UN Tourism and the DMO's destination management organizations. These 3 areas I was commenting are the ones that are most evaluated during the audit, which is the strategic leadership, which should be comprised in the planning, the governance of tourism development in the destination, The second is the effective execution. There we have a closer look to the effective management capacities, the use of resources, and the performance in its execution. And the third one is the efficient governance. There we have a closer look to the human, financial, and technical resources to enhance and the quality of the touristic destination. The 3 steps to certification, which Francisco will then explain in more detail afterwards. You can see here. There are some months, let's say, as an indication, but usually it's 1.5 years is usually the time span. It depends on the destination. It depends on if it's high or low season, how the workload in general is. So it's more like a guess. If the DMO obtains about 70% or more, it will obtain the certification at the end of the evaluation. It's the first. So it's the first step is an self-assessment. So to have an idea about the current situation and where to work on, where to improve. If you want to have an idea about the budget, we can send you a personalized proposal. It's a bit complicated to talk about concrete prices, but it depends on the situation the country is in, and the DMO, where the DMO is located. It also depends on the number of training sessions needed, the people need, or which they think are necessary to obtain the certification. And also it depends on the number of staff that's working in the destination management organization. This is our main objective, is that all would get a certification at the end, because it's very important at talking about a quality level, about a competitive level. And these are some of the benefits that an organization DMO has after having obtained a certification of UN Tourism Quest. And Christian will talk about later what they have diagnosed in that. And you will also form part, once you obtain the certification, of an exclusive network of UN Tourism Quest membership. So you get special discounts for the staff, for training courses. It's also possible to do tailor-made courses. And we also open and invite people that work in tourism but are not part of the DMO. So it's also helpful for them to improve. And it's also possible to participate in our projects. So who can apply? All kinds of DMOs can participate. It doesn't depend if the local or provincial level. It's irrespective if their government is being member of tourism, UN tourism, or they don't need to be affiliated either. It can be either public or private organization. So everybody is welcome to apply to get a UN Tourism Quest certification. And they can contact us directly or go to the web homepage and register there. Fill in this, submit the online registration form. And so these are the DMOs that are certified up to today. So it's Punta del Este in Uruguay, which received their certification in July 2018. It's a municipal DMO, a very small one with roughly 2 people. The second one was in September 2019 in Argentina, Cordoba. And it's a mixture between public and private entity. They are the DMO with the most staff we have. It was roughly 150 people involved working there. The next ones had been certified in 2020. The Thompson Okanagan Tourism Association. It's a private association. It's part of a region in the province of British Columbia in Canada. And the other one is Fundación Mallorca Turismo. It's for all of the island of Mallorca in Spain. And it's a public foundation. And most recent one last year in 2023, and which we will talk about today, is the Regional Tourism Corporation of the Valparaíso region in Chile. And it's a private non-profit organization. And it takes care of all the region of Valparaíso. And this corporation, which Francisco will present, is a private non-profit entity. And just a second, please. And it's represented by different public and private stakeholders. And it includes all the region of Valparaíso. It's chaired by the government of Valparaíso, Rodrigo Mundaca, and has 8 directors. Francisco will afterwards talk about its objective and what they do. And before passing to the second part of this webinar, I would like to introduce you to Francisco. He's the general manager of the Regional Tourism Corporation of Valparaíso since 2019. And he is a cultural engineer from Pontificia Universidad Católica de Chile, and he's specialized in enology. He's more than 15 years experience in planning and management of public and private institutions. And he's also worked abroad, and he has been general manager of the Casablanca wine route. And one of his most important achievements was development of the Valparaíso Casablanca Valley as part of the great wine capitals, and which is part of a select group of 10 wine capitals worldwide. And among all these things he's currently developing, he also headed the development of the certification of the DMO Valparaíso. And before we move on to Francisco's presentation, we will introduce to you a small video to give you an idea about the region of Valparaíso in Chile. And afterwards, we will listen to Francisco. Thank you so much.
Bienvenidos al paraíso.
De la adrenalina.
De los deportes extremos.
Y los no tan extremos.
Bienvenidos a un paraíso de sabores.
Y sensaciones.
Bienvenidos al paraíso.
De la biodiversidad.
Y la biodiversidad.
Bienvenidos al paraíso del arte, del patrimonio,
La cultura
y mucho más.
Te esperamos en Valparaíso, región.
Valparaíso.
Qué lindo, Francisco, nos da ganas ir a verte.
How nice, Francisco. And would be happy to come to see you. Welcome to everybody. I'm happy to be here today to be able to share our experience in Valparaíso. Thank you, Sonia. And we're very happy to have obtained the certification. And thank you, Kasem, for organizing, and Sonia for organizing this webinar. And thank you to Caroline and Christian. Thank you so much. He's promised me to talk slowly today. I will be doing my very best to understand what he's saying. So what Sonia said before, we took the decision about 3 years ago to do the certification. And before, I would like to present my organization a bit better to you. So our cooperation started in 2019, is an NGO without, and we have the ambition to create bridges between the different actors in tourism in our region. And
cerca de la capital nacional, que es Santiago.
We're very close. We're very close to the capital of our country. And we would like to use to enhance and support the possibilities we have. So we're creating bridges between private and public organizations to enhance tourism and to help the transformation of the region of Valparaíso, and to with the mission to be able to be an international, national touristic destination, and to support the development of touristic and to enhance the collaboration between the different organizations to improve the touristic impact in our region. So we have a president, which is Rodrigo Mundaca. He's the governor of the Valparaíso region as well. We have 9 additional directors who work with Rodrigo Mundaca. How did we obtain this certification? So the first step was a strategic plan of touristic development of the Valparaíso region. It was a plan about for 5 years. And we had a strategy of planning with all the directors involved. We had an initial working plan. And then the pandemic broke out. So we had to realize that we had to change our planification, our plans, and to adapt them to the new situation. And so first of all, we thought of a plan of a marketing plan. So we had to think it on a more global level. So we contacted different consulting agencies during the process. And we developed this plan, the strategic plan, with more than 300 people involved in this plan. So we identified a bit the gaps we had in the tourist development in the region of Valparaíso. And in 2022, we held a meeting, which you can see in the photo on the left-hand side. So the main areas, work areas you can see here. So it's plan how to manage the region, what you offer to the tourists offer. This third one is also to work on the touristic culture, to make the local communities participate. The fourth one is a brand, develop a brand, to be able to promote the region. And also the fifth one is also very important, the competitive intelligence, to create value and how to create value in an intelligent way. And identify sources that help us how to use better the resources we have and to apply them in a better way. So there is a very global summary of the work plan you can see here, where the different areas I mentioned just before are listed. And there you see different projects. In total, it was 23 projects that helped us also to overcome the gaps we had identified. And the first project was to change the organization into an DMO. So Sonia, this is Sonia Figueres. And she was a very big help in this process. And she helped us a lot about how to define strategies and to understand the process better. And we did that over consulting on the web pages. And she, with her help, we got more information, how to prepare better and how to develop a better strategy. The certification is the quality certification for the DMO, for the handling of touristic destinations. And its main areas or the main points are the strategic leadership, the efficient execution and efficient governance of the OMT. And the different work steps is first the evaluation, an auto-evaluation, which is done online, kind of a pre-audit. And this is the detail. So you can say there is an Excel table with a lot of different points. It was like it opened our eyes to see what we have to pay attention to. We never had thought about this before. It was one of the most important steps in the beginning to understand what we had to work on. We had no idea that there were so many important areas we had to concentrate on and to work on. And there were a lot of things had to do with communication. And although we already had a strategic plan, we realized that we had to update it because to make it match with the criteria here and to come up, to understand what we needed to do. So let's start with the auto evaluation. We did it within our group, and then we sent it to Sonia. And after that, we had 74% of points. And in order to get the approval, to get the certification, you have to reach 70%. So we saw that we had still some work to be done. We were very close to the percentage needed to get the certification, but we are in a good way. But still, there were some gaps and some things to be tackled, some tasks to be tackled. So there is an improvement process and plan. So the group, the team from UN Tourism Quest sends helps it set up a plan to improve, to train. So some of them, we're about a very small team, about 8 people. So we opened up this group to other people that are involved with our organization. So more than 20 hours of capacitation of training to handle the knowledge and information about the ethic code of tourism of the United Nations and the good practices for sustainable tourism. We were working in the different areas, and we were more effective. We're getting more effective. And finally, the audit. We improved our management, and we did the validation with the support of the improvement plan. And we sent it to the group, to the team of the UN Tourism Quest. So Leonel Vilela was one of the auditors from Argentina, and Señora Garcia, she was from Mexico. They helped us physically, also with the documents we had to provide, to submit. So we have at the right-hand side, you see a photo where we had with the highest directors of Chile from tourism, to show them our plan, to show them that we're working to improve, to enhance our region. And many times you can't see on paper how much work and how much dedication was put into this, all around our team, all around our organization. So it was important to work together. Yeah, and it was very important for the region of Valparaíso to collaborate a lot. So summing up, the auditors went away. They got home and they left a final report. So initially we had 68.86% in the evaluation of the pre-audit. It was 750 hours of working hours, roughly. It It took us about 18 months to execute everybody. The objective was, one, to obtain the certificate. And finally, our result was 83%. And we were very happy and very satisfied with our work and very grateful to UN Tourism Quest to support us in this mission. I want to show you a bit of the benefits. The benefits you can also see in the UN Tourism Quest webpage. So I will show you it's a global benchmark, a standard benchmark and criteria to evaluate the efficiency of DMOs. It was also to enhance the compromise of the DMOs to improve quality and excellence in the handling of the tourism and to improve the competitivity and sustainability of the touristic destinations. Our organization not only works for, let's say, for ourselves, but we're also helping other organizations, touristic organizations around to work along this. We're also enhancing the public policy in tourism and is also the benefits also to improve the quality and excellence of the DMOs. And if you receive a certification from UN Tourism Quest, it's a long process. It needs time, but it means work, teamwork, also along not only in your organization, but among other people. But it's very important. And it allows you to be part of the network of UN Tourism Quest, which helps to collaborate, to exchange ideas. So above you see we're now the 5th organization that has obtained this UN Tourism Quest certification. It's not only for our organization, the benefits, but it's more than that. It's the implementation of tools and best practices that help to support the strategic development, strategic leadership, the effective execution and efficient governance. The touristic destinations also support the competitivity and sustainability. And we're in a position also to support in the planification and the handling and the governance, the destination as such, and to handle it better, to make it more attractive. So there are lots of synergies created between public and private sector, and also for the tourist itself, he or she has a big advantage of this because the quality is higher and the management, the strategic management is better. So his experience is better, is improved. So here you have the prize we obtained, the certification we obtained, and the picture and the team, the core team, last year in September It was obtained for the Global Tourism Day. This was a very happy day for us, and the experience we had as an organization was very rewarding. It brought us to a different level, to a higher level as organization. We're very happy to have obtained a certification. And we will keep on working that we will take the most of it, make the most of it, and keep up to the good work we've been doing so far. We will. Now we are also part UN Tourism Quest community, and which is a big benefit, not only for us, but for all the region of Valparaíso, and also for all the tourists that come to our region. Thank you so much to everybody. And Sonia, let's let me know if there's some questions. Thank you so much to everybody. Thank you, Francisco. In the next part, further to the explication, the presentation of Francisco, we will have a panel discussion with some experts, and we invite you to send your questions or doubts in the chat. You can see here, and we'll come back to that later. Now we will show you a short video about Valparaíso. Now as Francisco presented the region and the organization and the experience they had with the certification, you will see a video about Valparaíso. Now you will have more insights of which region he was talking about. So please have a look at the video, and hopefully you would like to go to Valparaíso to see it live and have an experience, touristic experience there in Valparaíso. Okay, enjoy the video.
Entre la cordillera y el mar hay mundos en donde el misterio vive, de aventuras en escenarios sin igual, de experiencias irrepetibles, de cultura para todos, de sabores que forman parte de muchas tradiciones por descubrir. Ven a descubrir Valparaíso de cordillera a mar, porque hay Chile para todos. Sigue estas medidas de autocuidado. Infórmate más en chileestuyo.cl. Gobierno de Chile.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much. It was very interesting that with an inclusive video with sign language as well. Before we come to the questions that the audience is preparing, I would like to do some questions to the panel to understand a bit better and to know better Professor Kassem, Caroline, and Christian. So I will ask some questions, and I will start with Caroline. And Caroline, I would like to know what your network is doing. What is the creative tourism, and how has the creative tourism developed since its beginnings? Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good night. I am very happy to be able to be here today in Scott webinars and to share my experience with you and this opportunity to talk here. Thank you so much. It's an honor to me to talk about the OECD. It's just a small part of the puzzle. The Creative Tourism Network is an NGO. So we are all giving some tools to develop tourism. It started all in the 2000s, that we realized that there was a new demand for a different kind of tourism, experimental tourism. So it was completely empiric. We're lucky to be. So Greg Richards, Greg Raymond, some professors who were very enriching to us. They were very inspiring to our work. So we created a platform in Barcelona. And we realized it was just not an isolated case in Barcelona, but was something that went far beyond. So we started to develop a network between destinations of all types. And UN Tourism Quest is adapting itself to all these kinds of destinations. Very interesting for us, all the characteristics. And through this, 2010, we started creating the network and to help the destinations in developing creative applications and creative tourism. We work a lot in Latin America. There is a lot of demand. I didn't want too much more of your time. Thank you. I hope I answered your question more or less. So it's in the same, along the same lines. I would like to remind you that Caroline is the founder and of Creative Tourism Network. Christian, I would like now to ask you some questions.
Tourism hospitality consulting.
So Christian is doing tourism hospitality consulting. And what are you doing nowadays with local communities and with indigenous communities? Can you please share your experiences? Thank you, Sonia. Thank you to everybody.
Yo les mando un saludo desde Santa Marta, en Colombia. Soy peruano. Smart es una empresa panameña.
I'm working for Smart. It's a tourism hospitality consulting agency. And we developed tourism in a holistic way. And we look what how the training, needs to be done at different areas. We are a very young enterprise. We exist since 2019. We work with a lot of different destinations in Latin America. We also work through seminars in the internet, webinars, and at a global level, we would like to increase and help to increase the resilience in the process of creating tourism. Can you hear me well?
Sí, se escucha un poquito, pero creo que ahora irá bien.
Yes, we hear you. We hear you. I'm so sorry. I'm connected from Colombia and in a place where the connection is not so good, so sorry for that. And we work a lot on rural tourism, and
busca a través de la blockchain generar fondos para desarrollar recursos.
And we try to provide funding by blockchain, and we try to connect people also for recreative travel.
Por otro lado,
and regenerative travel. And also one of the very important scopes is to protect the indigenous culture, and by doing a tourism in this direction. We work with the indigenous in Panama, within the Dominican Republic, and in Peru. It's a very large area.
Evangelizando o fortaleciendo la visión
We
de
try to spread word, to collaborate and to work in this direction, to preserve also the indigenous culture for people, for enterprises, for different kinds of publics, and to help to develop these regions. And in Latin America, the public administration is a big problem. So, and also the political, let's say, management is also difficult. So it's difficult in certain ways to proceed in this way, but we're working on it. Thank you so much. I would like to remind you, Christian is the co-founder and CEO of Smart Tourism Consulting and Hospitality Consulting. So I would like to pass the word to Professor Kadem. I would.
You have many hats, but I would like to ask you what you're doing with FAO, and could you explain to us what is agri-heritage tourism, please?
Thank you, Sonia. I'm learning a lot from the panel. Agri-tourism is well known, but agri-heritage or agriculture heritage, which is not very well known or as known as cultural heritage, is an initiative based in United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization. It emphasizes on traditional agriculture as a system together with the people who are living in the traditional agricultural landscape and their way of traditional farming, their culture associated to the agriculture, and basically look at tourism as a tool for revitalization of such a landscape. Because due to the industrialization of agriculture and urbanization, traditional agriculture is not enough to provide livelihood for local communities who are living based on traditional agricultural economy. So tourism is seen to be a powerful driver or tool to revitalize the agriculture heritage landscape, to help the farmer to have a direct access to the market. Tourists can provide more economic benefit directly if well managed. And if the tourism is defined as a sustainable way of agri-heritage tourism. And the difference between agri-heritage tourism and agri-tourism is that agri-heritage is a system, which means that the tourists are not only interested in the quality of agriculture product, but also they are interested in the agriculture heritage lifestyle, to learn from the everyday life in the agriculture landscape and rural area, and they are willing to contribute to the traditional agriculture economy. This initiative started from 2002 in a conference in South Africa, Johannesburg, when the idea of agriculture heritage was first raised by a United FAO. And so far we have more than 70 sites around the world that is designated as agriculture heritage, including 17 sites in Japan. And I know
Thank you so much.
Where you are based on, Sonia, you have also recently an agriculture heritage designated site, which is based on the cattle grazing, which is very amazing.
Thank you, Professor Kazem. Yes, thanks to you, I know about this, and we went to visit it together. It was very interesting. Voy a volver al español. Lo que he estado escuchando desde cuando habló Francisco y ahora con Cristian y
who had been listening to us, to what Caroline and Christian and Professor Kassem were saying.
Quisiera saber desde vuestras experiencias que nos pudieran contar un poquito cómo ven que la gobernanza beneficia a todos en el destino.
How does the governance in tourism destinations benefit local communities? How is your experience, and how could you please tell us a bit about your experience?
A todos los expertos.
This is to all the experts. I invite the experts to. Yes, Francisco, please go ahead. Thank you, Sonia. So, first, we had different governments in Chile. One of it was Sanatur, it's a national agency for tourism. So, we developed the governments for these specific regions to protect the way of the tourism. It's a very small region, and it worked very well. And it involved different actors, communities, local people. So it was a very limited work plan, limited to tourism, and it worked very well. So, at the beginning of the pandemic, we had also developed governments for the different areas, for different kinds of tourism. So for the public entities, for the private entities. And we worked to develop a plan for the different territories. And more, we have a lot of touristic services, but it was impossible to do it for everything. So we collaborated between different so the collaboration was essential because we couldn't do it for every part individually, sorry. So we collaborated a lot between them, and it was very good because they shared their experience. And they helped each other to develop, and it was a very good experience. So in order to be efficient, it needs a very strong local leadership. Very important that local ones are. So we passed on the leadership to the local destinations. So it was Senator as a head, but we passed on the leadership to the local destinations, to the local communities that took, let's say, the leadership, and they developed it and collaborated very well. And that was very essential and very important. Thank you, Francisco. So there comes my second question. I would also like to hear other perspectives. So, Christina, Professor Kassem, if you would like to add something or share. Caroline, yes. From a creative tourism perspective, it comes from a demand. It's a very specific kind of tourism because, for example, maybe a tourist that may learn how to paint murales or how to learn a traditional dance. So it's a different kind of tourism. So there are new actors, new people coming in. So this kind of tourism, it has become a tool. It's a very useful tool for the governments. So it's essential that the DMOs, the destination management organizations, are, let's say, the box or the container where these tools can be. So to enhance tourism. So it's something that integrates in the DMOs and helps them to develop a different kind of tourism. And at the same time, it helps to promote and develop plans for the next steps. And is this in this sense? We're also working to keep up with the evolution of the touristic sector. Thank you, Caroline.
Christian, Professor Kazan. Christian,
Thank you,
please.
thank you, Carol. I think for me, sustainability is the most important aspect, and it is case by case, or it is related to each site and destination. So in destination level, we have to see how to create a collaboration between the main players and the stakeholders. So if rural or urban, it doesn't matter, how the destination is providing an environment for both the host and the tourist to coexist and to exist in harmony with each other and a mutual understanding and benefit. So I got some questions in the chat. What are the differences between, for example, agri-tourism and agri-heritage tourism, which is not an easy question to answer, but all I can say is that we can have a new farm and bring people to experience farming. This is agri-tourism. It's all about agriculture. But when we bring heritage or the concept of heritage to agriculture, we are talking about people who sustained agri-heritage, a tradition of agriculture for a long time, and they pass it on, and they believe in this culture. So it goes beyond the agriculture tourism. It is the identity of people who are the farmers and the tourists who are going to interact. And it is about how tourism industry can interpret or the interpretation of this identity as a quality visit for the tourists. Sorry if I talk long, Sonia.
Thank you, Professor Kazem. Thank you very much. Christian, sí.
Well, from my perspective, of our perspective, tourism, it has to be suitable for every single destination and environment. And what it makes Quest interesting is that it can fit also in destinations with the characteristic that the one that we have in Latin America. Me acabo de dar cuenta que estoy hablando en inglés. Bueno, decía que podemos encajar perfectamente en las condiciones de los diferentes destinos latinoamericanos, que en muchos
different Latin American destinations. So it's quite complex. So we have different cultures, different political situations. We have different ecosystems as well. So from such a perspective,
a poder desarrollar también proyectos con mayor impacto por parte de las organizaciones de gestión de destino, con los sitios aledaños que pueden beneficiarse de la actividad turística que se encuentra en un territorio.
it's also important that the DMOs can develop a way of tourism that helps them to improve. And in America,
metodologías de gobernanza que cada vez hemos ido acercándolas más hacia lo que requiere también ONU Turismo.
we in Latin America also try to collaborate more with the local authorities, but it's
que son autodiagnósticos con los stakeholders, el poder seguir
It's-
trabajando el fortalecimiento de la gobernanza en los territorios, aprovechando en este caso la digitalización y la virtualidad para poder
yes, we also try to use to take advantage of digitalization,
gestión colaborativa que hay.
and
Esto a nosotros nos permite después identificar también cuál es
to
el grado de madurez del territorio, lo cual nos llevará después
digitalization helps a lot because it helps us to check on the development and how the people are really working on the
según el trabajo
development of
que
tourism.
desarrollamos.
Muchas gracias, Cristian.
Thank you so much,
Continuando la
Christian.
pregunta de gobernanza, y Francisco se ha
Following with the
sobre
governance
eso las
question,
ONGs, necesitan llevar ese liderazgo, y te lo
So-
agradezco mucho, Francisco, porque a veces hay
sometimes
territorios que piensan que con
there are
la
territories
gestión que llevan
that think that
actualmente,
and the management they
puede tener una
currently have
gobernanza adecuada para el desarrollo.
is sufficient, that the governments they currently have is sufficient. In other cases, they realize that they have to change the kind of organization they have, like in Valparaíso, where they changed to a corporation. So it's either public or private, and they had to have more
A veces se puede hacer desde algunos productos turísticos.
sometimes it can start from some product, from tourist products or some private or public sector. But in the long run, we realize that it's essential that the DMOs work on that.
Que sin el liderazgo de la OGD no hubiese sido posible llevar a cabo.
Can you talk about just where you see that without the leadership of the DMOs, there was it was essential to have the DMO to develop the tourism? Can you show us some examples? So I can talk about some new responsibilities of the DMOs. Used to be the classical model of tourist offices. Now it's different. So there are like the climate change, there are the ecological challenges. So the destinations, which we already thought that are already up and running. They, for example, how to recycle the plastic that are around, you know, they have these challenges about regulation, about for environment questions. So the topic that Christian mentioned to be the contact point for in moments of transition. So it's not only in Latin America, it's also all over the place, all over the world. It's very important to have the stability, to be a point of reference for the local actors and to help them to overcome all the challenges they have, you know, in this very changing world. Excuse me.
Gracias, Caroline.
Thank you, Caroline.
Solamente complementar, Sonia, un poco
I would like to add to something, Sonia. In Chile, we have a central government, for example. So this means public policy is done in Santiago de Chile. So our organization as a regional actor is closer connected to the region and is able to provide solutions to the region for the region. So we're much more efficient on a territorial level, on a regional level, than would be without this organization. Say, I would like to add something as well. One of the characteristics of the DMO is also to see things from the tourist perspective. It's not from a public authority, from a public admin perspective, but we as a DMO, the DMO looks at it from a touristic perspective, so they may not know. So the DMO also helps to transmit the vision that tourist has of a region to another region, to another, to the other administration. So it's also a link. It's a challenge with the governments in Latin America. Lots of different opportunities. I collaborated, for example, with Sonia. And the global benchmark theme is difficult. It's a challenge, especially in the public sector in Southern America. And it's very precise work to be done, and it's something pending. We're pushing to improve and to develop this further. It's also involving public and private sectors in this model. I see that we have to transform still a lot of things, and I hope that this webinar also helps to enhance conscience for this and I think that the certification, UN Tourism Quest, allows for a lot of territories to pass from a vision to from a economic activity as a hotel or let's say accommodation management, rather to a different tourism lookout. So to see it in different ways and change experiences, and it's essential to have these tools and yes, as you said, Caroline, UN Tourism Quest, it's for all kind of DMOs. I mentioned it before, it could be local or provincial level, but it could also be in a city level or on a, let's say, rural level. So there is some increasing interest in the rural tourism, but it's important to empower local communities. With reference to that, urban DMOs have more data. How do you say, what are your recommendations? What are your recommendations for rural DMOs to have more data to be able to better govern their destination? Daria.
Carolyn. Bueno, bueno, recientemente
Lately,
es bien interesante, ¿no?
it's
Porque en el
very
concepto
interesting
turismo rural,
because within the concept of
en otras partes o más
rural tourism,
descentralizadas, en Latinoamérica nace este concepto del turismo rural comunitario que propone además el trabajo con comunidades
so in Latin
campesinas
America, this
característica, ¿no? Sin
this
embargo,
tourism kind of tourism
más al detalle,
helps to improve the labor situation of
turismo indígena, que es uno de los temas que
the
nosotros trabajamos.
people that live on the land.
Conseguir estadísticas exactas,
But it's
porque
very difficult to get real precise statistics.
turismo rural, todos metemos dentro de una bolsa. La estadística que se da con el turismo étnico, que tiene una tratativa muy particular,
Because it's
bastante diferente, por lo cual
the ethnic tourism data is treated in a different way. It's not reported like such. So, and the handicraft and culture, the arts, the major heritage. It's not the same, say it's not the same precision that these data are taken as in other sectors, for example. I saw with a lot of interest a star in a program that looks for the auto diagnostics in best tourism villages. It's a project, so I was very interested in this. We are also trying to in different sources.
Tratando de canalizar en Latinoamérica, sobre todo dentro de lo que es la visión del turismo indígena, más allá de solo la del turismo rural comunitario. Sin embargo, hay buenos monitores que han desarrollado los gobiernos.
There are lots of good monitors for example, in Peru. We have the Ministry of Tourism and Economy. They have a lot of information on their web pages. In Chile, we also realize that they're working very strongly on statistics and also on indigenous tourism.
Que estaba generando datos, me parece, con la Universidad Católica y en Santiago.
And I think it's also the University in Santiago de Chile. And to be able to do the development to data, relevant data and tourism. So there's, thank you. I would just like to add and to use the synergies networks. Thank you, Christian. We, from our sector of creative tourism, we don't only have quantitative data, but also qualitative data. Where we work with local communities in all the process and to create experiences of creative tourism and to share them at a low level of the DMOs. And we see that in very similar areas. The behaviors, the troubles are the same, or the worries are the same all over the world. You know, the queries people have to have a certain level of training, to have a certain level of income, and to take care of the ecosystem system. and it's a lot of work of investigation work to understand what we do in an empirical way and to see what tendencies are and which recommendations we can give. I would also like to mention that a bit what Christian said in Chile. There is a program which works on mobile phones. It's tourism movements, so a program on the national level. It works with we get questionnaires and they can add data and answer questions, and it helps a lot to get data. We was looking in the possibility in the regional level to see how people move in the region of Valparaíso, what they do, what they are interested in. And many rural areas often have defects in good internet connection. So, and also of the preparation, education, and in terms of technology, of using such programs and of being interested in such programs or having access to them as well. Sometimes, excuse me, sometimes these are slower, don't work like this. And this can be a good way to get the data. Thank you.
Dónde se pueden obtener los datos y pensando sobre este tema, Cristian, no sé si quieres aportar algo. Tenía otra pregunta en relación a los datos.
Do you have another comment? Just one perspective. We interviewed more than 200 Paris people, and we obtained a very interesting data. Currently, I'm in Santa Marta for the first summit on sustainability in Southern America. How can we make people responsible for sustainability? The theme of how we perceive to be sustainable or not. It's really interesting because they see themselves very sustainable. It's incredible. So, how we think about the biodiversity and about the existence of the biodiversity we have, and how to take the correct actions to preserve it. And we also exchange information and obtain different parts of information from different parts of the region. And it would also help to transmit all these perceptions, which often are not correct, to open eyes and to realize where we really are. Thank you.
On the data information, I had a last question for Professor Kazem. As I mentioned earlier on, he's got many hats. And one of them is also very interesting projects he does with his university on rural tourism. And that is one of the, also the universities have a lot of data, and they're always very happy to work with rural destinations and DMOs. So if you wouldn't mind, Professor Kazem, before we finish, if you could explain a little bit what is happening in the rural areas, that the work you do in the rural areas with your university students, please.
Thank you, Sonia. One of our works that we are committed to is to contribute to local community, and my colleagues in the university, we are evaluated not only based on the research and teaching as a criteria for our work, but also is the contribution to the local community and the region that we are based on. And this is in case of rural revitalization, especially in Japan, that we have shrinking communities in the rural due to depopulation and aging society. We have organized and we have designed internship programs that the students can work with small entrepreneur in tourism in rural area. Student can work to develop activity design and marketing rural, and also managing the rural resources to be used in tourism. And we found out that when we join forces with the community, as always Professor Jafar mentioned, bridging theory and practice, students can bring what they learn in classrooms in the field, and the community also can feel how they can benefit from local university. And this is helping us to bridge theory and practice in local and regional level. And not everybody is going to be working in rural after graduate from the university, but we see that a limited percentage of our graduate students, they come back after sometimes working in urban area to rural, and they try to find some tourism-based livelihood in rural tourism. I think that is not enough, but it's very necessary that we create this connection between academia and local communities.
Thank you, Professor Kazem. Sorry?
No, I'm done. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Sí, es a menudo en los destinos vemos la relación pública-privada muy desarrollada. También se empieza a trabajar.
Very often we see in this kind of situation that there is a lot of connection, a lot of interaction between the private and the public sectors.
Porque son buenos partenariados, como Professor Kazem acaba de explicar.
It's
en su universidad,
in Professor Kazem's university, the youth students participate in local community projects, and this can also be have an impact at large afterwards, and it has a direct impact. So today we have this webinar. So we have the Ritsumeikan University from Japan and the Valparaíso region. So these two networks can help to strengthen the connection, and also they can bring this connection to the students and this information, and at the same time the students can update their studies and see what's happening. Thank you so much for your participation. I leave the word to Professor Kazem.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sonia, and thanks to all the participants that they stayed with us. We are going to have a summary and a conclusion of what we discussed. So I am not going to take more time here. I would like to ask Professor Cooper is here, Malcolm. We want a few words from you before I ask Jafar to do the most difficult job and to conclude the panel. Malcolm.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for inviting me to this. As the rapporteur, the function of this person is to tell you what you've already heard. Summarize it very briefly. So here we go. What we had tonight, so it's tonight in Japan, what we had today was a two-part presentation. The first part was about Quest, or it was actually more about the type of things that Quest does. It's very much like the TED Qual or GSTC or whatever. There's two parts to it. One is looking at how one might be able to develop resources, and the other is to support the training of resources. I found that very interesting discussion, but there are a lot of those organizations. And I wondered if you might in future talk more about how Quest is different from many of these other ones. That was very, very interesting, very useful. It flowed very well into the Valparaíso discussion, which started with the idea that there were gaps in the knowledge of the tourism industry in Valparaíso that weren't obvious until Quest came along in the form of Sonia. So that was very interesting, very useful way of illustrating what an organization like Quest actually does. And then we moved on into examples of development, of the use of resources, of the fact that the industry in many places needs organizational support. And it's very possible that our ability to use organizations like Quest will make a difference in the development of tourism. Discussion of individual items is very, very useful also, because it points to what's missing. So I have exceeded my time. However, what I'd like to do is congratulate you on bringing together really the way things should go in the future in maintaining regional and local development. So thank you very much for a great presentation. Thank you very much, Marlene, for your translations. And wow.
Thank you, Malcolm.
Over to you, Sonia.
Thank you, Malcolm. Let me take it over again. And before I forget, I also want to thank Marlene and bring up that her organization, if I pronounce Paulia de Senia, who sponsored this simultaneous translation. We are very much appreciated for their generous support. And one quick point that I want to mention about Quest is as we do have it in Agriculture Heritage initiative, is that the quest family information and experiences from the local area, and they share these experiences and implemented in destination level, which is very unique and helpful. I pass it on to Professor Jafar. Jafar, as usual, you are going to do the conclusion. So floor is yours, Jafar.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Qasim. Malcolm already did the conclusion and he did an excellent job. So I don't want to repeat what he already said. Thank you, Sonia, for once more telling everybody what Quest is and what Quest does. And of course, we can see the result of what Quest does. The presentation today shows that pieces are coming together thanks to Quest. In tourism, a lot of stakeholders have to come together and to collaborate, to work with each other. And this was quite evident in the presentation. Though sometimes the terminology or the stakeholder would be mentioned once or twice, but it was always present in the presentation. For example, the place of indigenous people or agriculture heritage that the Qasim you were talking about, all of these originalities are in the concept of destination development, and Quest is a way to see if the pieces are coming together. The question of competitiveness was also raised. Competitiveness happens when the house is in order. In other words, the destination needs to be really together. The pieces need to be connected with each other, collaborating with each other, partnershiping with each other. And all of that was quite evident in this presentation. The part that I want to emphasize because of my own background is that when we talk about destination development, we are looking at the destination from the tourist point of view. Who says destination? The tourist says destination. The community doesn't say destination. The community says community. So I think, yeah, it's very good. And this point, it's very good to think about this. And it became quite apparent in the presentation of today that we don't want to talk about destination development, but host community development. When we say host community, we acknowledge the fact that this small community has a population which is called host, and things have to be done through the eyes of the host. I would like to mention that, as you already know, that the tourism studies or tourism industry often often tries to figure out what is the view of the tourist about tourist satisfaction. How do they like the destination, etc. But the tourism industry often fails to measure how the host community is satisfied with the level of development. And this became quite apparent in the presentations. If we are not conscious of that, the host will become irritated, and irritation moves to interaction and negative interaction, and it causes hostility of some sort. So it's extremely important to have the host participate in the making and shaping of the host community development. I wish I had heard more about host participation in the making and shaping of tourism. What I would like to suggest at the end of my comments is that maybe the destinations, whether they're Quest destinations or not, they should measure tourism in 3 different ways every year. One, the tourist satisfaction. Is the tourist satisfaction going up or down? And this needs to be done every year. The other one would be host satisfaction. Asking this year how host is satisfied with tourism and asking the same question a year later and asking the same question 3 years later to see if they are being irritated. So that I talk about two satisfactions. Tourist satisfaction, the tourism industry always does that. Host satisfaction, rarely we do that. We should commit to doing surveys of host satisfaction with tourism. And three, workforce satisfaction. We never do that. We always say that they have the job, they know how to do the job, but do we ask them how satisfied they are with the work that they do? They are the people who are caught between two communities, the tourist and the host. They are really a broker. And this brokerage job is a very difficult job. So therefore, I recommend that all the Quest destinations or the ones that want to become Quest destinations, certified Quest destinations, should do 3 types of surveys every single year and compare the results. And they will see that the satisfaction of tourists is going up or down, so they can adjust it. The satisfaction of the host is going up or down, and fix it before it's too late. The thing is, if the irritation of the host against tourism goes up, it speeds up very quickly. And if we find a remedy for it, it is very difficult to bring it back to what it was. So don't let this irritation takes place. And if you don't repair it, irritation turns hospitality to hostility. And that is when the destination would be a big loser. So maybe I leave that at this point with my 3 surveys that I'm recommending destinations to do. Tourist satisfaction survey, host satisfaction survey, and workforce satisfaction survey. And at the very end, the important thing is to remember that we do tourism to improve the well-being of the host community, the happiness of the host community. We should measure that level of happiness. Are they satisfied? Are they happy with the thousands of tourists coming, and next year more tourists are coming, and next year another bigger volume coming? These are the things that have to be measured in order to have a healthy tourism destination through the eyes of the tourist, or healthy host destination through the eyes of the resident. Thank you, Kazem and Sonia, for putting this wonderful presentation. If there are people in the audience whose destination is not a Quest certified, I really recommend you to step forward. The cost, the administrative cost, can be explained by Sonia and the team. The Quest makes it possible for the destination to interconnect, to bridge, to work together in a smoother way, in a satisfactory way for all. Thank you very much again for putting this presentation together.
Thank you very much, Jafar. As expected, you brought all the points together by this triangle of host, the guest, and I'd say the industry or the workforce. If they talk the same language, then or they can play a win-win game. And again, I refer to you. It will be the case that a nice place to live is a nice place to visit, and the destination means exactly what it is. Thank you very much. I have 2 points to share at the end. One is our next webinar, which is coming soon, is the 1st of June, and I would like the participant here to visit this page. My colleagues, they send it in the chat. So volume 59 is a usual volume series. As you can see, Today's webinar was 26 from our spatial series, and from our usual series, we have the volume 59. Altogether is more than 80 webinars. So please register and get the link, and we are waiting to see you in this upcoming webinar. And the second point is that the Scott webinar library is yours, and you are just one click away to subscribe here and stay tuned. As you can see, we have over 960 or 50 subscribers already who get updates of the video library that we have, and all videos are available for everybody. I'm going to open the floor that everybody can start video. Please turn on your videos if you wish, because we are going to have a group photo. Our audience who have been with us for a long time, if you have the capacity to share, okay, great. I can see faces more.
I would like to thank Professor Malcolm and Professor Jafari for the very wise words they have expressed. They have arrived to the right ears. Thank you so much. I would also like to thank Hira. She is the Scott admin doing this wonderful behind the scene work. And the interpreter Marlene. Muchas gracias. And the sponsors. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sonia.
And Kazem, see you soon, I guess, for our next Scott webinar on the next coming DMO that just got certified, but we haven't announced it yet.
Yes, or our next TED Call webinar series.
As well.
So I see more faces here, and I do not insist more because I don't know where our audience are from. If they are from Japan, definitely they don't want to turn on the video because it's 11 p.m. here, and they might not like to be photographed. So I'm going to borrow your big smiles, and we have a photo for Scott website. Great. Thank you very much. And we will see you in next webinars. Again, on behalf of the Scott team, I would like to thank all of you for your active participation and for your beautiful job, Sonia and Caroline, Francisco, and Christian for sharing your experiences and valuable knowledge. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you. Good night for Japan area. Good afternoon for Europe, and good morning to the Americas. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Take care.
Bye. See you.